Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Chatverse. I'm Jennifer,
I'm Katie.
and today we're going to be getting into memories and stories from our Washington, D.C. trip back in May of 2007. Yeah, we're going to go way, way back when we were in eighth grade.
Yep.
It's that time of year where eighth graders and middle schoolers are going on the famous trips to DC and other cities. So we thought this would be a very good time of the year to reminisce and talk about some of the stuff and to do a little show and tell. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Like we said, we're going to be talking about when we went to Washington, D.C. when we were in eighth grade, because it's that time of year where schools are going on their eighth grade or seventh grade famous field trips that everyone knows happens. So this is pretty bad, but I have a box in my room that I keep vacation souvenirs and stuff. I actually have the ID.
Look at that eighth grader.
Yeah, I actually had to do picture retakes that year because my picture turned out so horrible.
And a funny thing, we didn't know each other in eighth grade.
No, we did not.
Went to the same school, but didn't know each other.
Yeah, so we were on the Washington, D.C. trip May 17th, 18th, and 19th of 2007.
Oh my God. It feels like so long ago, but like not, like it's just.
So let's see, do the math. What's how many years ago is this then?
Okay, well, let's see. We were like, what?
I have a calculator. So 2022 minus 2007, 15 years ago.
Oh my God.
So we're talking about something we did 15 years ago, and there's stuff on this trip that everyone just remembers, like the places you go, the screwy stories, like if kids get in trouble or really dumb stuff happens.
Yeah.
Just remember it.
Yeah, some things like stick with you vividly and other things kind of blend together because you did so much on that trip. They had to like pack it in. So, yeah. So, what is one of your things that you remember?
Oh, God. So, yeah, well, when you were just bringing that up, I remembered there's this notebook that I have that has been sitting for years, but I will put notes in it for like doing stuff with videos. And I remember I actually have our itinerary that I wrote in eighth grade in this notebook.
Oh my God.
That it's literally just been sitting there for forever. So the first thing I remember about this trip was it almost turned into a rivalry based on the coach bus you were on.
Yeah.
Like I could have sworn they were like bus one, loads of fun.
It was bus one, bus of fun. And our driver was Stan the man because I was on bus one.
I don't know what bus I was actually on. We had how many? We had 6 buses.
Yeah, there was a lot of us.
Oh my God.
There was a ton of us, and every single bus was packed.
Yeah, because the reason why it turned into a rivalry was because you had teachers on the buses and wanted to create like their own little cheering team. And then you had kids' parents going on the trip as well. And some of the people that were on the trip were even maybe like retired people. Like we had I was Officer A retired at that point.
He might have been.
Because we grew up in the DARE era.
Don't do drugs.
So our resource officer who did DARE actually came on our DC trip, and he might have been on my bus.
He was also a police officer, so
So yeah, I can't remember if he was retired from the force yet or not, but I
Might have
said his
been.
name because it's what it is in his whole full last name. We just called him Officer Ace. There's no way people can look that up.
Yeah, no.
Um,
There could be a gajillion officer A's.
yeah, I had I'm gonna say Mr. G on my bus. I said, oh, like that's what it was. It was like this rivalry that got created. So like when people would get off at the rest stops, it was like people like would create a chant, or
Yeah.
people would be like, well, our bus is better because we've got these people. And
Mhm.
it just it turned into that was a memory in itself, was just the fact that, and I didn't know this until looking down at, like I said, this paper that yeah, is like 15 years old. Geez. Yeah, we had 6 buses. And that's insane.
There was a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I think almost our whole class went. I think there was maybe a few kids that didn't go because their parents didn't want them to go or couldn't afford them to go.
Or
Um,
they got into so much trouble that the school probably didn't let them go.
yeah, there was some of those too where they had like ISDs and stuff, or just
Yeah.
like regular suspensions and they couldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that was one of my like memories was bus one, bus of fun. And our bus driver's name was Stan, and we called him Stan the man. And we had on my bus, I had my social studies teacher, which was Mrs. C.
Which I already know who that is. So
Yeah.
you don't
So and then we had I think Miss M was on there too, which was Molnar or Mohar,
Mhm.
because both Mrs. C and Miss M were for the part of the cheerleading team, but it's the flags and the kick line.
Yeah. Yeah, she
So
doesn't Miss M doesn't do it anymore.
okay.
She stopped
Yeah.
when she started having kids, but yeah, they were they dealt with the high school football flags and kick line.
Yeah. So
So
and then I had a lot of like football, like the football team on my bus. So it was like a lot of the more jocks on my bus.
mhm.
So we watched Remember the Titans. And that I'm mentioning that because it'll play into another story later.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
our bus, I do remember that the movies we watched. So people were allowed to bring movies to put on there. A lot of people were bringing their own stuff to do, but you had like every so many seats there was another little TV on the coach bus. And so I remember that Kathy W brought Gar was it called Guardians? It had something to do with the Coast Guard, that Ashton Kutcher was in it. And it was this thing with or was it with the Marines or something? Or the Navy. It was like some movie that was like very, very intense.
she probably brought it because of
The
going
swimmer.
to going to places like Arlington and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I can't remember what it was. I just remember Ashton Kutcher was in it. It was a lot of stuff with like them being on a boat in the storm, and it was intense. And then we watched Pirates of the Caribbean 2. And then Mr. G put on this movie that will ever be ingrained in my brain. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
Oh my God.
And the thing is, I think there is stuff in there that it's not appropriate to be showing middle schoolers, maybe in this day of age, but in 2007, it was not appropriate to be showing some of the stuff that was in there. I don't remember what the movie was really about. I just remember this title and that we watched it, and it was like, oh dear God.
Yeah, I can't remember a lot of the other movies. I just remember the Titans sticks out because of it being a football movie. But then I remember Mrs. C put on like she cranked music in the bus. So it was like it was like a rave in the bus. So yeah, I distinctively remember that, but I can't remember. I want to say we might have was High School Musical out then?
It was.
I think we might have
Came out
watched
years
that on
before.
there. I think we watched that and then something else. I think the other one might have had to do with like something along like military or something like that. but I
Mhm.
don't remember exactly. I know leading up to the trip, in social studies, we watched like movies based on the Civil War and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And Mrs. C would always rewind when there would be like a violent scene. Instead of like speeding past it, she would rewind and like play it in slow mo, and she'd go, "Look at that chunk," and I'm like, "What the
You've got to be kidding me.
hell?" So I always remember that. But yeah, that's definitely one of the very vivid things that I remember is like the bus competitions and stuff.
Wow. So since that tapered off of one of my memories, what is like one of your memories? So we're moving on to like that was like kind of like memory one all jolted like put together. So what about the next type of memory you have?
I remember we made a stop on the way to DC. We stopped in Gettysburg and walked the fields where the wars, yes, and where the Gettysburg
I'll
Address
be
happened.
showing this is when I bought postcards and stuff that was in this box. So here are some souvenirs from our trip. So it was and then the ring light is gonna have a dumb
Reflection because they're glossy. Yes, I remember doing that and like just listening to the historian that was taking us through the fields and how he made us line up like if we were in the infantry and like march across the field. It's something that really like sticks with you because you're just like these, these people died for a cause and they most of them were just ordinary people because they got drafted and stuff like that. So and then it being a very momentous thing because of the Gettysburg Address and everything with ending slavery. So that's something that really, when we stopped there and then driving through on those Greyhound buses, driving through those mountains in Pennsylvania, and then like the tunnels. Do you remember going through the tunnel? That was the sketchiest crap ever in those buses.
Oh, see, I went to I think I went to Washington, D.C. with my family before this trip even happened. So we drove there. So I knew about those tunnels. I could have sworn.
Yeah,
I don't think afterwards I was too old. So yeah, we went when I was younger to DC. So I knew about those. And I think those are the coolest things ever when you go through those tunnels.
I hate them. But that's because I'm claustrophobic. So I always think of what if this caved in?
Well, you do think about that.
Yeah. So I'm just like, oh my God. I don't know. But yeah. Then I do remember, this has to deal with the buses. When we finally got to the hotel we were staying at, it was dark by the time we got there. And literally Stan was trying to maneuver the bus and it was so tight that he almost like backed into like, there was like some body of water. I don't know if it was a river or like a pond outside of the hotel we were staying at. And he almost like backed into that. Then he moved and he almost like backed into like these cars because there was no room for a Greyhound bus to maneuver in this parking lot. And there was all the other ones were around too. Because do you remember like the buses were kind of like in a competition of racing, like who took off first and stuff. It was like at first it was in succession of the bus numbers.
I don't think that part doesn't stick with me.
I remember.
I don't doubt you. That was probably definitely a thing.
I remember when we stopped for food, they were like, when we finished, they're like, hurry up, get in the bus so that we can take off because we want to like beat the other buses. So that's something that I randomly remember.
Yeah, I got some stuff to go off of with Gettysburg. And even just from like what I have written down. So like, for example, we left our middle school at 6:30 in the morning and we were supposed to, these times are definitely off. This is just what I have written down, what was our itinerary. around 2:15 in the afternoon, that's when we got to Gettysburg, where we did the battlefield tour. We walked through like the woods. I remember, I know that there was a girl, I can't remember if she was already hurt and on crutches, and we had her walk, but there was somebody that got injured. Either they were injured prior or they got injured on the actual walk through the woods and going by the battlefield stuff.
I know there was somebody on my bus that was injured. I think she was on my bus. That goes along with the story that I have later.
Okay.
Of what had to happen.
I can't remember if
there was a girl that had a knee situation. And I don't know.
I don't remember if it happened from the trip at Gettysburg or if it was a prior injury.
I think it was a prior injury because, well, the girl I'm thinking of, she had like something with her, it was either her ACL or something, one of the tendons in her knee.
Okay.
Because she played sports. I can't remember what exactly she did.
But yeah, so I remember we were walking through the woods. Like we were going on these like trails and stuff leading out to the field. I do remember vividly we went to this buffet because we ate dinner there before we got back onto the bus. And I remember this in my head that it was like this buffet and we had to go down these steps at this, I don't even know if it was a restaurant or if it was a visitor center. There's a gift shop in there, which I'll tell more about that in a second. But I remember we would walk down these steps and I just remember like everyone wanting like a bunch of the macaroni and cheese and chicken.
Yeah.
This is buffet down there. But
because everything else looked gross. And we were like,
well, because kids are obsessed with chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. It's not
exactly. And then in the morning, obsessed with like scrambled eggs and like crap like that.
Oh yeah. But in the Gettysburg gift shop, a ton of people were obsessed with buying the Gettysburg Army hats. So there was there was such a huge group of kids that bought those hats.
Mm-hmm. The infantry hats or whatever.
Yeah, it became a thing where everyone was wearing the hats. I don't remember what color, because I know there was navy blue. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they were obsessed with it. So there was almost like a cult with these hats.
They were obsessed. They were like, we want to be Civil War soldiers.
Well, it was just the fact that everyone could buy them and be matching. Because that also happened on this trip. We were able to go gift shopping for souvenirs, and girls would people would purposely all want to buy the same hoodie or the same color type of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that with the restaurant, and I have a Gettysburg shirt that was in the same spot for years in a drawer, and now it went missing. So I think I packed it away. But yeah, we didn't get to our hotel, like you said, so it was dark out. They said around 9:30 because after we went to the Gettysburg. After we went there, when we got into DC, we went and toured. We went to the it says tour FDR, Jefferson, and Iwo Jima. So we went to some of the memorial.
Those were the first monuments that we went to.
Yeah, some of the monuments, which I don't know if I have. I have like so much stuff. It was like that was from Gettysburg. Like I have like these pamphlets and stuff.
Like the old style, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did we go to the Jefferson? Yeah, I have
my phone is ringing.
This was like the pamphlets when you go like to there.
And we missed like Cherry Blossom. We missed them, I think.
I remember going in here and everybody was fascinated at the tundra inside of there and just seeing the statue.
Yeah.
There were pictures taken of this trip that they put in a slideshow for us.
Which, and a CD. Yeah. CD or whatever.
And I just remember like everyone, like, even if they weren't on the same bus, like if people were dating, they would like hover by like their people and stuff that this ring light's gonna drive me nuts. I want to show these pictures. And then Yeah, I would just buy these like big books of like because I was obsessed with buying postcards on vacation when I was little. So I would buy like the books like this.
Oh yeah, I remember. There was like a guy that came onto the bus and they were selling those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, so that was that whole part. So that was like the Gettysburg part of our trip and those memories.
Yeah.
So the
I
next
I remember, like, since you were talking about Iwo Jima, I remember when we got there, Mrs. C made a bunch of the guys on our bus reenact um the statue.
You're right, and those are in pictures too.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
reenacted like planting the flag.
Yeah, they would have them pose like the statues and stuff.
Yeah, like right in front of the statue. Yeah.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
my next memory that I want to talk about has to do with the hotel rooms.
Oh God.
The stuff with the hotel rooms. So there's stuff that I heard what happened in other people's rooms. I will say that first. So this was a hodgepodge over the whole trip. I know someone got sick off of Taco Bell. Say they had so much Taco Bell that they threw up all over the bed.
Ew.
And so all their people they were rooming with had to deal with that. Um, there was another room that a girl slept in the bathtub. So she
I
took
remember hearing about that.
pillows off the bed, blanket, and slept in the bathtub.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I know some of it had to deal with some of them. Some people did not want to share beds.
That's what happened in my room. People didn't want to share a bed, so we traded off. So there was like a night I was sleeping on the floor. Yeah,
No.
I know. And there was people I remember in the hotel room next to us that were just guests, and
No.
there was things happening next door that we had to listen to during
I
the
thought
night.
they blocked off a section of the hotel floor, like that we were all like next to each other.
We thought so too, but there was some weird noises going on in the next room. So
No.
I don't think they were any, unless they were, I don't know. Unless they were people, we just assumed they were like random people because there was on the floor I was at, I was drying my hair and my roommates were being loud because they were talking over the hair dryer or whatever apparently and talking over the TV, and there was complaints of like it being loud. So I don't know if there might have been other people on the floor I was on.
Wow.
Like we went up to a certain, but there was weird noises going on in the next room. So I don't know. It was weird.
So in my room, this is the doozy one. So we so in my room, we basically I don't care, I'm not going to use names, but it was people from my Girl Scout troop. We
Yeah.
all kind of grouped together.
Mhm.
So there was a girl that was in our Girl Scout troop that couldn't find people to room with, but she wasn't in our troop anymore. She was in it and then resigned when we were like younger. So we felt bad and we're like, should we do this? So we let her stay in our room, and she would not shower.
Ew.
Yeah, so we were all like taking either a lot of us, I think, were just taking showers in the evening. This person would not shower.
Yeah, we just showered at night.
And then this is the doozy. So we woke up in the morning the one day and we went into the bathroom. And no joke, there was a big, huge piece of poop in the toilet with no toilet paper.
What did you do? Just like drop it?
We tried flushing, and at first the toilet water would not go down.
Oh
And
my
like I
God.
said, there was no toilet paper in the toilet, just this big piece of poop. And this came from the girl that would not shower.
Oh no. Hopefully the toilet paper went down when she tried to flush. I hope.
No.
But I don't know.
Yeah, so we couldn't get it to flush. We were kind of freaking out. There was a policy where we were not allowed to open our hotel
Door.
room doors.
They
There was
put tape on them. Yeah.
Yep. There was tape outside the door and we didn't know what to do. So I can't remember if we called the room number to one of our teachers to let them know, hey, our toilet got plugged up. I know we did call maintenance and they brought up a plunger, but we were not allowed to open the door for them. That was the other
Right.
problem.
Because we were just kids. We were all minors,
Yeah.
so we weren't
We weren't allowed to open the door for them. So I think my friend, I think she finally got the toilet to flush. But we were like, you've got to be kidding me. So we kind of like were starting to tell people, and we like it was getting kind of like stuck on that where they were calling her like poopy girl or something.
I think I vaguely remember this, like floating around. I vaguely remember it, just like the girl who slept in the bathtub. Like I don't know who it was, but I know it was going around. Like, can you believe like this person slept in the bathtub?
Well, can't remember though if by we kept flushing the toilet, it finally went down. But I know our teacher came in and made sure. But it was so gross because we were like, who did this and why is there no toilet paper?
And when did they do it? Did they sneak in there in the middle of the night?
Yeah, so like I was okay with like sharing the bed with my friend, but then the other girl from our Girl Scout troop did not want to share a bed with the other person that pooped in the toilet.
That didn't shower.
One day the one girl was slept in the recliner. One day I think she was on the floor, but then I think they flip-flopped her. Then one went on the floor, one on the bed. But it was just like, it was ridiculous. And then it was like this thing that we kind of felt like really weird because it's like the whole thing happened and she wasn't showering. So it's like on the bus, then we were just like really like, it was like,
you wipe? Yeah.
It was just so awkward.
Ew. Yeah, no, my roommates, one of which was one of my friends in middle school, because then like partway into high school, she moved. But we wanted two of our other friends, but they had already like had a full room. So we had two people that we knew of but didn't know, and they were both friends, so they needed people to roommates. So we just agreed to group in as a 4 room. But yeah, like I don't know why like we did that, where like I don't know if people felt weird because we were just gonna be like both friend groups like in each bed, you know, but I don't know. It's that awkward age. And I know a lot of the guys too were just like, we're not sharing beds.
Yeah,
yeah. Because people like it was that age where people didn't want like people to like make rumors and think like something, you know. So I think that played a lot of the role in why a lot of people were like, I'm not sharing a bed.
They just thought it was just completely weird regardless. They didn't want like, even with some of their friends, they were just thought like this is weird.
Yeah.
So I know now on some school trips, they will the price for each person is delegated on how many they agree to be in a room. Yeah. So I think that if they really wanted to, they could have 2 people in a room, but their price that both of those families would have to pay would be more money.
Yeah.
If they wanted a third or fourth person in the room, the price would go down. I don't know. I've heard about this before, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure they made us have to be in a group of 4.
Yeah, they forced us. We were not allowed to go in through the connecting rooms, which I think the kids did it anyways.
Yeah, probably.
But here's the thing, like back then it was very, very minor stuff happening on these trips, like people trying to order pizza.
Yeah.
Happened. Someone I think tried to order pizza and then they weren't allowed to go to the door to get the pizza, or they weren't allowed to open the door. Yeah. That kind of stuff. Or for my sister's grade, people took like a pillow from the room to go on the bus home. Or some people might have trashed the room just like being stupid. But nowadays things are getting where you've got boyfriends and girlfriends trying to sneak into each other's rooms. Yeah, so
that's why they did the whole tape thing. on
Yeah.
our room.
So this
Yeah.
the yeah, a recent story that happened a couple years ago was the assistant principal went on the field trip. A boyfriend and girlfriend kept sneaking in each other's rooms. They finally found out about it. So then the assistant principal went in the guy's room and she went into the shower and was pretending to take a shower. She wasn't. And he stood out there the whole time saying, well, I'm not leaving until you come out of this room. And it was like very awkward. And I think it was a whole thing
Yeah.
where they would call parents.
Oh,
Like
God.
that kind of stuff was not going on in 2007 when we were at least our school. But
Yeah, no.
that's how things progress. Like that happened, I think, in 2019. The
Yeah.
2019 school trip for that middle school that happened. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's crazy. Because like that age group, what they do like totally changed. I'm not saying our like age group was completely innocent.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I'm
we're not
sure,
doing it at all.
yeah, I'm sure people did stuff, but like it wasn't out there as much. You know what I mean? Like people kept things private. They didn't, you know.
Or it was like silly things, like somebody
Uh-huh.
getting sick or like taking a pillow. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything like these kids being stupid, or who knows, maybe stuff happens out these school trips where kids are bringing vape and they're smoking pot and they're like, you don't know
Or
if
selling pills or anything, you don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is sad. But the thing though is you can even say back in the 90s when kids were really being rebels that this stuff could have been going on. But yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of escalated from poop in the toilet.
It did. It did. Well, that's because what was going on, presumably going on in the room next to mine.
So what is your next category of a memory?
Okay, so this was to kind of forward through things when we had to go to Arlington Cemetery because we were going to see the changing of the guard at the unknown, so the tomb of the unknown soldier. Yes. And for everybody that knows anything about Arlington, you know that there's a hill in Arlington Cemetery where you have to climb up the hill to get to the tomb. And the girl that was injured, and this is why I said, Remember the Titans plays in, she had crutches and it was going to be too hard for her to go up the hill in crutches. And they didn't have a wheelchair available, or it was either they didn't have any more available, or you weren't allowed to have one in going up there, because when you go to the tomb, you have to stand up. So Mrs. C looked at us and like the girl, she didn't weigh a lot. She was probably like 90 some pounds, but she looked at us and the guys like all went up beforehand, and the girl didn't really want one of the guys carrying her, and she was like, I'll just stay down here. And like we're like, you came all this way, you're not going to just stay down here and miss it. So Mrs. C looked at us and was like, who's going to carry her up Arlington Hill? And somehow it was me.
No way.
Yeah, it was me. Another girl tried to carry her.
Book. Here's the without.
Yeah,
the
so
ring.
you see that as you're going up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So another girl tried to carry her, but only got a few like feet and was like, I can't carry her. And I'm like, this girl only weighs like 90 some pounds. It wasn't like she was like a very big person. It's just she was taller. So it was kind of like.
Was she on the volleyball team?
I think so.
I cannot remember her name worth the life of me, but I know
she had dark hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So
now.
I was like, okay, yeah, I'll carry you up the hill. So I had to carry this girl up Arlington Cemetery Hill all the way up there. And that's why Mrs. C was like next to us, because I think she was carrying the girl's crutches to be at the top. And she kept looking at me and she's like, come on, Titan, get up the hill. And I'm just like trying to carry this girl who's taller than me up this hill. And I'm like, oh my God. So that is like one of the most vivid things. And it was almost like Mrs. C was making jokes too. Not really jokes, but like play on like situations like No Man Left Behind because we were in a military cemetery.
Mhm.
Like, so
She would do that too.
yeah, so it wasn't really like jokes, but it was like, come on, like soldiers don't leave another one behind if they're injured. So it was that kind of thing. And then like the whole Titan thing got brought into it too. So I remember having to be the one to carry this girl up this hill so that she could go to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and see the change of the guard.
I do remember like everyone from our grade was actually very respectful.
Yeah, everybody was very quiet. Nobody made a word. Everybody stood. And she even stood, even though she had her injury, because then she just stood with her crutches. So, yeah.
Nowadays, like,
I don't think another person would carry somebody up that hill nowadays.
well, I'm even talking about like when, like, for being respectful.
Of the changing the guard, yeah.
Yeah, the kids though that would do that, if you have like if you got like an out of school suspension or certain
Class
like
clown or
certain
something.
things, yeah, they're not going to take you on that trip. But I can just picture like with it being dead quiet, the kids are very into like making like, I'm sorry, but they just make moaning sounds.
Or like fart noises.
Can I get a oh yeah?
Like, oh yeah.
They would do something so stupid
Yeah.
that I don't know if they would be respectful enough. But I think that the schools have learned enough over the years that if you've got behavior problem kids, they're just not going to go.
Yeah, if they had a certain amount of like, not marks, but like things that they've done prior, they don't let you go.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know that you're going to be problematic on the trip.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to ruin the experience for other people.
Yeah. And they said, like, trust us, your parents are going to be very mad if we're going to make them actually drive all the way out here and pick you up. Because they said that was going to be a consequence. Your parents would have to drive out to DC to come and get you and take you home.
Yeah, or fly out if they had to, you know, if they didn't want to drive. But yeah, they would have to come and pick you up. I remember, this is a random tangent, but that was when I got my first cell phone because of going out of town.
Mm-hmm.
My parents wanted to be able to get a hold of me. So yeah, and it was a flip phone because that's what we had back then.
Because I know my family definitely didn't have cell phones. I don't think, because I know my grandparents had one. When we drove to Florida in 2002, we borrowed my grandpa's cell phone. But I did not have any phone with me on that trip.
Yeah,
to my knowledge. Because
I did, and my mom called me often. I was like, "Where are you at?" And I'm like, "I'm still in Ohio." Yeah. So, but that was random. What's something else that you remember?
So I was trying to like get it so it wasn't that bent up.
I saw you like folding that, so I figured that's
medieval times.
Medieval times. That was a fun place.
I don't think it exists anymore. I'll look it up. But
no, it does, because one of my relatives took their kids not too long ago.
Really? Because when I asked my teacher friend who still works at our middle school because they're gonna be going to DC, but this time it's at the first week of June. This looks so stupid on my head, but I don't care. I said, "Are you guys going to medieval times?" They're like, "It doesn't exist anymore." I'm like,
I think it's different location because so my family member a month or so ago went to Disneyland, and so that's where then he was showing medieval times. So there must still be one in California.
So Medieval Times is a medieval dinner show where all of it is finger food that they give you. There's no forks, no utensils. They give it to you in these metal bowls, and you drink out of cups. So you had
it was like a little like gauntlet thing that you had to drink
out of.
It was like a
gauntlet thing.
Yeah.
So you had that. It would be split. I think your soup, they made you actually pick up and drink it.
Yeah, and they gave you a small chicken, which was a Cornish hen. And our guy in our section made us, he's like, raise your hands. So we had our hands up, and he's like, see those? Your God-given utensils? That's what you're using to eat this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I just remember the food was actually like really good.
There was like vegetables and things. So you're like trying to like pick up stuff with your fingers. I'm like, is this really? I'm like, I and the king had utensils, but us
Yeah.
commoners did not have utensils.
It was good food though. And we were
Yeah.
in these, it was
I think that
stadium.
was the best food we had all trip.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And it was stadium seating with tables, and you were divided into colored teams. And there were even people from other school districts from around the country that were on their trips too.
Yeah.
And everyone was split up. But I kept my red flag. I was on the red team.
I was on the white. I had the white knight. I had my flag somewhere. My stuff's like buried though.
But yeah, it was so much fun because there were real horses that the people were on.
Jousting is what they were doing.
Yeah, the whole jousting thing. It was incredible. And like when you
Yeah.
drive to these, a lot of times they were like theaters attached to malls.
Yeah. And the thing was like, yeah, because I think when we went in there was like a Target or something attached to it, like on the one side.
Yeah.
It was attached to
we
something.
must have went to the one, it was the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. at our Arnudel Mills. But yeah,
I think it was some kind of mall.
Yeah, inside it lists where different locations are. I would seriously love to go back to one of these if they ever exist. Like if they still exist, that would be awesome to go to one of those.
I know, like I said, one is in California, but out this way on the East Coast, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when like your night was out there, you could heckle the other color that was against them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to try to get them off their game so that they lost the joust match.
God, you're right.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy because like it's acting, so I mean they do like kind of prod each other, but like they purposely throw themselves off, you know. So like, but as a kid and you're so invested in this like jousting tournament and you feel like you're in medieval times and you're like so invested in it that you think that it's like totally real that this like knight flew off the thing. And I think there like you could take a picture with the winning knight or something. There was something.
I feel like something
king.
like that
It was or with the king. Like the king like chose somebody in the crowd as like the special person.
Oh,
I remember that. Not in a not a weird way, not a, like a weird special person, but like I can't remember what term they used. But that was fun. I was like, that was probably one of the most fun things besides going to the Natural History Museum. I mean, the whole thing was fun, but
yeah, that medieval times because it was such a special thing.
And it didn't have anything really to do with DC. It was just a side thing that they let us.
Yeah, I know, because we had to get on and drive a tiny bit because we did like the Gettysburg and that type of stuff. Like I said, that was actually have it labeled as for May 17th, and then it was the 18th is when we did that for dinner in the evening. We were there a good number of hours because it said we were supposed to go there around like 7 p.m. when our reservation was, and we weren't back to the hotel until like 10:30 at night.
Yeah, and then we had to get up early in the morning the next day. I remember being so tired on that trip.
Yeah, there was a wake-up call that came to all of our phones at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, the one night we almost slept, like the one morning we almost slept through it because we were so tired. I think it was towards the end of the trip because like
they jam-packed so much stuff into that second day.
And you didn't have a lot of rest periods. It was just like it was a lot of go.
We had breakfast at our hotel and they wanted us to leave our hotel by breakfast was at 6:30 in the morning because they wanted us to leave the hotel by 7:45. And what they did was they split up our buses where it says like bus 1 through 3 went to a section of stuff. So it's like I was definitely on this one bus. Because one of them was the National Cathedral, which I remember how beautiful the stained glasses were. So I bought this like special postcard.
Oh, I remember going there. And this one girl kept twisting her hair and like pulling chunks of it out. I don't know why I remember that, but yeah.
So what we did was because since there were so many buses, they wanted us to get kind of divided up for where we went. So it said on here, bus 1 through 3, tour National Cathedral, Lafayette Park, Lincoln Memorial, Korean Memorial, Veteran Memorial, Vietnam Memorial, World War II Memorial, and then bus 4 through 6 went to the Air and Space Museum and the Natural History Museum. I was so mad because I wanted to go to the one museum that had Dorothy's slippers in it.
I think that was the Air and Space one. Because it had Archie Bunker's.
Yeah, that was
here.
I feel like there was something else that I did not write down. That wasn't at the Air and Space, because that's all it has to do with like planes and stuff. That might have been at the
It wasn't the Natural History Museum, because
there was some other type of Smithsonian museum. There was like a third thing I feel like I never listed down there.
It was one of the other ones. I think it was adjacent to the Air and Space one. It was like nearby, because I do remember there was extra time, and some of like our bus went into that museum and saw like Archie Bunker's chair and stuff.
I was so mad that I wanted to go to see a bunch of that stuff. My bus never made it to some of those museums. I was like,
yeah,
so mad.
Then I do remember like we went to the theater that Lincoln was shot.
No, we actually didn't.
We were on the street. We were
on the street. We had breakfast at Rock Hard Cafe, and we were scheduled to go there next, and there was a school ahead of us that took forever.
Yeah, so they gave us the spiel outside.
Yeah, so we only got to see the outside of the building. That other school took forever. We didn't get to go in there. So what they just said is go shopping in the stores.
Yeah,
so shopping.
Yeah, there was a store on the corner that like a gift shop that we went shopping in, but they gave us a spiel about what had happened at that theater, and directly across was the apartment where he was getting medical attention.
I think we went in that room though. Something tells me we did go in there. It was just because we going to Ford's Theater, and we were so upset. We were like,
we couldn't go in there. It was so annoying. And we kept waiting and waiting, and it was pushing back our schedule, and we couldn't like wait anymore.
Yeah.
So we just I remember they had us sitting on that street corner eating our lunch because we were waiting that long. It was crazy. But there was so much. I remember too, like the Lincoln Museum, the Lincoln Monument. They like made us race up the stairs and go look at the one wall that has the words on it. And there's like wording that's spelled wrong. So they made us go and try to find it, what words were spelled wrong. And then in the like little corner of the Lincoln Memorial, there's a teeny gift shop.
Yes, I do remember that.
It was like this weird door. Like you didn't think it was like a door to a thing, but people were like, oh yeah, this is a gift shop. And we all just like went in there, and it was so tiny.
I feel like I got something from, because here's the Ford's Theater postcard that I got from across the street because we couldn't go into it.
Yeah.
And then this was with the Lincoln Memorial. And see, my memory, I thought when we went to Gettysburg, that's when we went to Arlington Cemetery, and I was wrong. We went
Arlington's in DC.
Yeah, so Arlington, we actually went there on our last day. The Ford's Theater was on our very last day because we went to Rock Hard for breakfast. Oh, and then it says there was ESPN 3 buses each, so maybe we did really split up.
Yeah, we did, because we had to cover a lot of ground. And like I think like they did it where like we would flip-flop, try to flip-flop to be at different, like to see the same things but at different times.
Yeah.
But I remember the World War II one, and that one was so eerie, like reading all the names of people from like Pearl Harbor and everything.
Yeah, I have.
Just looking at the walls of like all the soldiers' names and all the like the women that were nurses and stuff.
Yeah, so this was the World War II. I have the whole pamphlet. And that was the one where
Yeah, it's like that black wall.
that
Yeah.
one that was the Vietnam Memorial you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, but there looked like a darker thing. But yes, this one was like the World War II. Yeah, this one was eerie too. But reading all of the on the individual like pillars. But yeah, the Vietnam one was creepy too.
Yeah,
Because some of them, like people, you had to be like so silent at them.
Yeah, it was where it looked all like that on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was creepy.
That it's the wall that looks like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they made it like rice patties that you had to walk through.
Yeah, that one was sad.
It was very, very eerie. But the World War II one was very eerie too.
Mm-hmm. And I have a Tomb of the Unknown Soldier one.
Yeah. That was something to witness. Like if you do go to DC, you have to witness that changing of the guard.
Mm-hmm. And then at Arlington, I believe, is also where JFK is, that the internal flame. Yeah. Where there's like a flame that's always. I'm trying to angle it so the
thing.
We did a lot because even for lunch, like I was saying, when you were switching, the day before we ate lunch at Union Station, so we ate at a train station, had some stores and stuff. But then coming home, we went and ate at a mall, and we were able to pick any food place we wanted to. They just gave us money.
Yeah.
It said Pentagon City Mall Food Court.
Yeah, I do remember that too. And we all kind of like broke up, and that's when like you found other friends of yours that were on different buses and stuff.
Oh yeah, and everyone was getting Starbucks.
I didn't go to Starbucks. I can't remember where I went. I don't know if it was Subway or
something. They were
walking
around their big drinks because they went other places, but then of course, and they had to go to Starbucks. So it was even a thing.
I know people were like going up to Victoria's Secret and stuff like that. You remember people were doing that?
I don't remember that. I was hung up on seeing if there was a Disney store because I saw someone with a Disney store bag and I wanted to go see it, but we didn't even know if that was really there because we couldn't find it even on the map. And I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, I think we were looking for something specific and we couldn't find it. And we were like, okay, we got to go back and try to meet them in this specific area that they told us to meet them at before we got lost. But yeah, there was a lot going on. I remember the last day when we had to go to the Rock and Roll Cafe. That was the day that we were all sick and tired of scrambled eggs.
Yeah, every breakfast it was scrambled eggs and a bunch of other stuff. And I think you're right. We were sick of it.
It was always like scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, and fruit. And people were so tired of it that I remember I was like, I'm not eating scrambled eggs today. I just ate fruit and like sausage or something. Because I was like, I'm not. And it was always like the gross scrambled eggs that were like really like flat and like rubbery.
Mm-hmm.
But as a whole, the trip was very fun and exhausting. It is something that like you should experience once in your life, going to DC to see all of those monuments and seeing America's history through like all of the wars that took place and everything.
Because then you get
and
to
the
like
Smithsonian that has things from all over the world and the Natural History Museum. So
yeah, and so that you finally got to see stuff in person from what you were learning about in school.
Yeah, exactly. And you had to you had to take note of things because you had to do this whole entire project. They gave us this questionnaire that you had to fill out while you were there. So you weren't just there to have a good time. You had to do work.
You had to take pictures that you were going to be printing out to put in there.
You had to have this whole like, it was like a scrapbook type thing.
Yeah, 5 pictures of different locations. Each picture must contain 3 bulletin notes about the picture. You have to have a reflection. You have to have neatness. You cannot plagiarize.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I remembered I did Jefferson, Lincoln, Iwo Jima, the White House, and I forget what else I did. Oh, and that's another thing. They had like in the park across from the White House, there was like people camping in tents. The one lady came up and was talking to us about her one son that was over in the war. So yeah, it was
I know what you're talking about. The people wanted,
they were protesting.
one of the kids actually got a picture with the people that were in the tents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were all protesting the war that was going on during that time.
Mm-hmm.
To bring home their children that were in the military. So, which is it's always a hard thing for those parents and family members and everything. So, yeah. But I do remember that and she was selling things. I don't remember what it was, but she was selling stuff because she was trying to raise money for the cause. So, but yeah, that's pretty much everything that I remember vividly. So
you basically touched upon like the really big stuff. So I feel like that's a good way to wrap it up. So thank you so much for joining us. How about you comment below what type of trips you went on in middle school, what memories stick out for you, to have a conversation going on there. We have other memories that we would like to share about different things we did growing up. So definitely
other field trips and stuff.
Yeah, other types of field trips and all that type of fun stuff, or even just like school memories or other stuff in general. Yeah. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for joining us in the Chappers.
Bye.